My friends, I have so many things to tell you. I am trying to, okay, let me close this. Okay, so we're live and, sorry, I was interrupted. Okay, so we're live. A lot of people are asking me, how am I doing? What's happening? Well, let me tell you what's happening. But before, I promise it's going to be a great share, very emotional, but whoa! Get your tea, get a snack. It's gonna be fine. I am wearing my I don't give a duck t-shirt, and I have my duckies. I have my duckies because I don't give a duck. So a lot of people are telling me to you need to fight it, you're a fighter, you're a warrior, and I'm like, I'm not gonna fight it. This is not an enemy. It's a challenge. I am so don't tell me to fight it. I am leaning in. Don't tell me to never give up. I am giving in. Don't tell me to hold on tight. I am loosening up the grip. So what does this mean? Let me qualify it because it might sound weird what I'm trying to say. To not to fight it, but lean in or give in. No, I'm not saying I want to die. So everything that I have learned in my personal development journey, and my certifications and preparation as a high performance coach, as an emotional intelligence practitioner, as a resilience practitioner, it's been also part, due because of my experiences. So I know that I have a storm approaching, right, from the 25th of January, starting chemo. I know it's a turn, storm. Let me breathe, otherwise my English goes out the window. I'm excited. Okay, so I have this storm approaching, but in a storm, you have to learn to be the eye of the storm, right? Braving the storm, staying calm, centered, and peaceful, regardless of what's going on, right? That's what it means being the eye of the storm. I am in the storm, but I am still going through that storm with ease, grace, elegance, humor, and while having fun, right? So it's a difficult challenge, but it's part of my journey, and I refuse not to enjoy also that difficult part. So I learned that from Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychologist that survived the Holocaust. The last of the human freedoms is your attitude. Nobody can take that from you. It's the way you go through a challenge. Nobody can take that from you. So between the storm and my response to the storm, there is a space. And in that space, there is my higher power and my freedom. So how do you stay calm and peaceful? A lot of people, actually, a friend of mine posted a meme, and then we started talking about that. Where's my Oscar for acting like everything's fine, right? So a lot of people are asking me, you seem to be fine with what's coming. You don't look sick. Make no mistake, this is hard. But so how do I stay calm, peaceful, and how am I becoming the eye of the storm? Let me ask you this question. What creates inner peace? The answer as I learned from T. Harv Eker, is not a what, it's a where. Being peaceful has very little to do with what comes your way, the storm, but a lot to do with where you come from, right? So most people, they are rigid. They are, they have fixed ideas and beliefs, and people want to defend what they believe and their thoughts and their better opinions and judgments, right? People like me that have evolved because of journeys and learning, and I have invested so much in my personal development and in coaches and mentors. So I have to learn. I've been learning, and I keep learning to live on my higher self. And people that are living as their higher selves are flexible, adaptable, right? Charles Darwin, which wrote the theory of species in my country, in the Galapagos Island, said, and you have heard it before, it is not the strongest nor the smartest that survives, but the most, adaptable, right? So in a strong storm, which is the one that is coming my way, if you are rigid and you are attached to the way you want things to go, in a strong storm, which would you rather be? A strong oak that will snap with the force of the wind, or a reed, a willow that will bend with whatever comes their way? So a lot of people are asking me, why is this happening? It's not fair. I'm so sorry. Why is God punishing you? Everything's going to hell in a handbasket. My friends, I am not being punished. I am being prepared. I am being forged. How do you forge iron into a better shape? You beat it up and there's fire and challenge. How do you make diamonds? Pressure, right? So I, a long time ago, asked for a big purpose, and I asked for legacy and impact. I stopped playing for income a long time ago. Playing for income is just, getting money so you can pay your bills. I stopped playing that game. I am playing on another league, which is impact. I want to matter. I want to make a difference in the world, right? So when you ask a skill, you get the experience that will give you that skill. If you ask the universe, I want to be a more patient person, the universe is not going to give you here you go, patience, and the patient is going to descend from the sky, and you're like, oh, thank you, I have patience now. No, you're going to find situations that will test your character, so you develop the patience. You're going to get a queue at the bank. You're going to get things that are going to test, and you will develop that patience, right? So lo and behold, I am selling emotional intelligence, resiliency, because I'm That's what I do in my business. Performance, being able to perform under pressure, being strong, smart on the go. So what do I get? 2 cancers, right? These are not punishments. These are challenges, right? The universe is saying, hey, kid, here you go. Show me what you can do with it, right? So, my friends, if it doesn't trigger you, it doesn't change you. It doesn't teach you. If it doesn't trigger you, it doesn't teach you. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. So, how many times you keep reliving the same thing in a different format? Sometimes we keep attracting the same relationship that is not good for us, so we keep making the same mistake. Nothing ever goes away until you learn the lesson. Right, so the universe will continue to test you until you don't need to be tested anymore. Remember that movie, Spider-Man, where it says, with high power, there is big responsibility. Maybe I butchered the saying, but I remember it was something like that. With big power comes big responsibility. So when I say I want impact, I want to matter, I want to make a difference in the world, it's not that I have to change the whole world, but if I change our life, if my journey and how I embrace my journey is going to help somebody, and it's going to, what I'm doing, this video, the book that I will finalize, that I had to add more chapters now because I have this second part of this challenge, is going to help somebody. And if that someone witnesses my journey and it serves as a survival manual, then, I have my legacy, I have my purpose, I have my making a difference. So, a lot of people, they want things to always, be nice, and that there is peace, and that it is calm, and that things go well, and good fortune, good things, right? But if you go to the movies, would you be entertained by a movie that, everything's fine, there's no conflict, there's no opponent, there's nothing testing the protagonist? You're gonna be bored. What a boring movie. But if you're going to watch a psychological thriller filled with plot twists, after that movie you say, wow, right? And you have all those emotions and everything, and you're like, what a great movie. That's life, my friends. That's life. And I might much rather have those high tension moments and thrillering experiences, because I'm riding this roller coaster until the wheels come off, right? So, I'm getting, woo! People like me, and I'm gonna call myself, my business is called Mind Jolt. It's, about changing your mindset. And as a mind jolter, which is MJ, MJ, mind jolter. As a mind jolter, I believe that the universe is on purpose and that I am part of a plan, right? Going with the flow of life. So, how do I explain this? There are no shoulds. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and that reason is there to serve me. Maybe not immediately, but everything I can use, right? There's no bad luck. In my country, we say, no hay mal que por bien no venga. No hay mal que por bien no venga. what does that mean? That means that there is no evil that doesn't bring also a blessing in disguise, right? So the essence of spirituality is going with the flow of life and fully embracing what is happening, right? A lot of mentors and coaches and authors have talked about this, right? There is Byron Katie with The Work, you know, there's her fantastic book called Loving What Is, right? There's a lot of people talking about this. So if you go against what is, you are fighting against the universe plan. So going with the flow doesn't mean, it's not the same with going with emotions, which is kind of letting it happen without taking action. No, going with the flow means handling, managing whatever life is dealing out without getting upset, stressed, engage in drama, unproductive activities or emotions, right? I am playing, ultimately, the big picture here is I am playing a game and I have been dealt these cards, right? And the universe has, you know, I have, how do you say that? I drew the card lymphoma, right? Before I drew the card unhealthy relationship and colon cancer. Now I have drawn this card, right? And going with the flow means accepting and dealing with the circumstances that life presents, right? And seeing how do I still win the game with these cards, right? That's when a game gets interesting. If you would only get good cards in a game, it would be boring. It would be the most boring game. You wouldn't want to play it. So life gets interesting when you get those cards that you're like, how do I get out of myself? How do I get out of this? Safe. So people that have developed higher power capabilities, they trust that they can figure it out, that whatever is happening is exactly what is supposed to be happening in the moment. Remember, I think it was Jung that said, what you resist persists. What you resist persists. So fighting, resisting is unproductive. If you tense up, if you resist, for example, every time I have to draw blood, if I tense up and I am like, oh, it's gonna hurt me, and usually that situation doesn't go in the best way possible. It creates more pain, right? So remind yourself that this idea of how it should be, right? I should not have gotten a second cancer, right? That should, and in terms of Tony Robbins, when he says you're shoodling up on yourself, you know, should is an illusion, is an opinion, is an expectation, is a judgment, is a story in your head. Should is a whip we use to beat ourselves and others up, right? Should is rooted in fear, in obligation, and, you know, most of the times false obligation, and creates constriction, right? Creates anxiety. So I have learned to fully accept and embrace what is and what comes in the present moment, right? The Zen masters, they say nothing could ever be or should ever be other than the way it is right now, right? And all the teachings, I mean, not all the teachings, the main teaching from Buddhism is that the cause of suffering is resistance and non-acceptance of circumstances, right? Which then when do you have a problem? When do you say do you have a problem? If you think about it, the easiest definition of a problem is I had an expectation on how this thing should go, and then that didn't happen, and therefore I define that delusion of expectations as a problem, right? So the cause of suffering in life is resistance and non-acceptance of circumstances, which are variable, right? People leave, you get fired, people die, you lose your money, everything, pandemics. So everything in reality is neutral. Remember that there is no reality, there is only your perception of that reality. So everything is neutral and has no meaning except the meaning that we create out of that perception. And the way you perceive and interpret the world controls how you move and take action in that world. Yes or yes? So acceptance, loving what is, as Byron Katie puts it, is a higher power, is a higher emotional vibration, higher energy. And when you are in a higher energy and emotional vibration, you attract what you want. So this is why I refuse. And when I do, I remind myself that I have to go back to my higher power, is I am not going to go through this challenge with drama, right? So I am embracing the unknown because I have this storm coming up that I don't know what the hell is going to happen there. I just know that once I go through it, I'm going to get a reward, right? Because if you think about it, strength, resiliency, I don't have to have all the strengths and I don't have to have all the strength and resiliency to go through that storm. I will develop while going through. The only way is through. I will develop the resiliency and the strength and everything that I want by going through that challenge one day at a time. Right now, I don't have what it takes. I'm going to develop it day by day. So, embrace the unknown. I have learned, and it hasn't been easy. I have learned to be comfortable with uncertainty and ambiguity, not only because, I decided to be an entrepreneur, and there's been a lot of studies that demonstrate that the key trait of successful entrepreneurs, so the number one skill of successful entrepreneurs is being able to trust they're going to figure it out, and they are comfortable with ambiguity, uncertainty, right? Volatility. There's that VUCA framework, right? Volatility, ambiguity. What's the C stands for? I don't even remember. I think it's challenge or anyway, change in the A. Anyway, I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was ambiguity, the last one. I should have prepared for that. Anyway, so true creation comes from the unknown, not from the known, not from the comfort zone, not from what's comfortable. So most people, they plan, they try to control everything they can control, right? They become control freaks. They are perfectionists. They plan for order, and then they find chaos. But higher power individuals, mind jolters, alchemists, my favorite book as a kid, as a teenager. I was, I think, 16 when I read The Alchemist in Portuguese, because I was learning Portuguese. And The Alchemist, is transforming challenges in gold, so lead into gold, for your purpose. So for me, I changed my mentality. I'm a mind jolter. I lost my train of thought. I jolted too much, apparently. Okay, so okay. Breathe, otherwise I forget. I was saying, most people plan for order and find chaos. You need to plan for chaos and you will find order, right? Remember, chaos always precedes order, right? Sometimes we have to let go of the obsession, of the addiction of today, of the, trying to control, and you have to leave space for magic, expectation of miracles, right? Sometimes the way that I know things, I don't have the imagination. I mean, how many people, when the pandemic hit, they were like, no. And then, most people, they found something positive in the pandemic, right? Either a new quality of life, they tried to find created businesses because they got fired, they created new businesses, got into new fields, they learn new hobbies, they learn new skills, they got into better shape. Some people used that to an advantage, right? But we couldn't have, at the beginning, it's like, we're all going to hell in a handbasket. But then, most people, then after, the initial rattling, they stepped into a higher power. So I am comfortable with chaos, ambiguity, and the unknown. I'm going to trust in my ability that I'm able to handle, that I'm able to manage with whatever comes inside the storm in the moment, whatever comes up in the moment. So I have decided to accept situations as they are. And I am already at the end of the storm using, so I have stepped into another law of the universe. We have the law, of vibration. We have the law of attraction. We have the law of utilization. So it's like, how do I use this lymphoma, this situation, this shitty situation, shit happens, this shitty situation, to be used for my personal benefit or the benefit of the world, right? The people I love. In first line, my son. I am teaching him. He's witnessing his mother go through a big, scary, potentially fatal life challenge, right? So I have the responsibility, because he's witnessing my journey, to teach him how you deal with the storm, because he's gonna experience his own storms. He's 25. Storms are coming. Storms are coming his way. It's life, right? So huge responsibility, because kids, they don't learn what you teach them, they learn what they witness. So I have a huge opportunity for teaching, for legacy, for impact here. First line, my son, right? The people I love, my friends, you that are watching this video. So The Alchemist, my favorite book. I actually recently, in November, I reread it. I had to buy it because I didn't have the original version that I bought when I was 16, that stayed in Ecuador. I bought it again in Portuguese because I had forgotten my Portuguese, and I just started, what's the word? Redusting. Anyway, getting lost in the story. I can turn challenging situations into opportunities for my growth and the benefit of others. That's I live by. I live by that rule that everything happens for a reason, and that reason is there to serve me, to help me. Utilization is the purest form of alchemy, right? Turning lead into gold, right? Fulfilling my purpose. That was what The Alchemist was all about, right? He has a dream. In my case, I have a dream of helping people with resilience, emotional intelligence, high performance, making a difference in the world. He has a dream. That's the start of the book. And then he goes through shit and more shit. And then he finds the alchemist, learns this skill. Well, I'm an alchemist, learns the skill of how to utilize and turn lead into gold. And then he finds a treasure and fulfills his purpose, right? So this is what we're talking about here. So finding the gift in the shed, whatever allegory, metaphor, making the best out of a bad situation, whatever, use your metaphor, but utilize what is for your benefit. So every situation is a seed to create something positive out of it. So ask yourself, what is a difficult situation that you're experiencing right now that you haven't asked yourself that question? Well, how do I use this negative thing to my advantage? And you always have something, and if you cannot find nothing, sometimes it's just to learn from it. Make me a better person, to teach me how I don't want to behave. Somebody betrays you and treats you badly and doesn't appreciate you or whatever, well, if anything, I have learned what I don't want to do in the next relationship, right? Or what I don't want. There's always, you can always find something positive. That's the last of the human freedom. So you have to trust that whatever is being attracted in your life is precisely what you need for the next step in evolution and in growth. Remember, chaos precedes order. So there's now chaos, my lymphoma, but because there's going to be a better order later. Because if I don't go through, if I just stay in the know and everything is fine and there's nothing happening, there, I continue to create, but that is not going to be the best creation, because it's just reallocation of the old, right? The status quo is just recycling of the status quo. So chaos is the signal that sometimes if we allow it, if we go with the flow, if we accept what is, we don't resist it, there's going to be a better and improved order. The best is yet to come is another way to see it, right? So the essence of spirituality is described as going with the flow and using what the universe is brought to me, for me. Things are happening for you, not to you, rather than resisting it. So what is that negative situation that you can ask yourself, how can it serve you? And with that, my friends, I leave you with that reflection. And don't tell me to fight it. I am not fighting it. I am leaning in the storm. I am loosening up the grip so I can go with the flow. And I am being flexible while having fun, because this is still part of my journey. And where is it written that I have to go through this cancer, all doom and gloom and stressed and upset and teary-eyed? That doesn't mean that I don't have fear. That doesn't mean that I have repression. It is scary. I cry every day, but I'm doing it afraid and still having fun. So I'm riding that roller coaster until the wheels come off, because I'm going to make of my life a fantastic 2 thumbs up, poignant, thrilling, exhilarating, psychological thriller. Stay tuned, my friends. It's going to be entertaining.